Oh,
Boom! We're
update.
back.
We're live. Happy fucking October, Josh.
Ooh, yeah, that's man, that's kind of crazy actually. It's October.
Spooky time. Yeah, dude.
Spooky. Spooky indeed.
It's just been going crazy.
Well, yeah, it's Friday, it's October. That's interesting.
Yeah, dude.
And we're back on the air here to review your tracks, stuff that you,
Yeah.
the viewers, if you make music, have worked on, created, or are working on. And yeah, we give constructive feedback as detailed as we can, unlike a lot of the stuff that is out there, unfortunately. But it's all good. It's all got its place.
Yep.
So should we just go straight into it to be expedient?
Yeah, let me just go
All
ahead and give
right.
a
So this,
rundown real quick. So, in terms of the queue, we have the Reptoids, we have Chess Bro, we've got Indigo Vertigo, Sauniman, I think if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and then Gary with two
that's
R's.
right.
That is our current queue.
Nice.
So, if you guys are, trying to anticipate when you will be, that is what we're going for. Today, we are going for a shortened stream because I fucked up on planning, and I will be performing at a half show. Sound check is at 6:40, so I'm going to leave at 6:30. But
It's a
that's
worthy excuse.
thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, without further ado, let's listen to some fucking music, dog.
All right. So this
And if
first
you're in
one
the chat, say
is
what's up.
yeah. Chat us up. We're very we keep up with it. All right. This first one is the Reptoids. The song is called 2020. Oh, this is going to be a ride.
Why?
It's a finished release, and the description is my boy posted this. So either somebody's friend or somebody's child posted this.
Oh, I see. Yeah. 50-50.
All
All right,
right.
you ready?
Should we? Let's do it.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
Danger. Alert.
Uh-oh. CNN.
Hard.
Whoa.
This shit all over the place, bro.
I know. Wow. Are you gonna do a hair flip, Chris? Oh, there we go. That's more like it. Do that all the time. Do that for every song from now on.
Only certain songs.
Right.
We got a group going on here.
This is changing. Ooh. Descending in a weird way. Wow.
Interesting.
Very. Chaos.
Face melting music, they say.
Chaos
I
if I've
tend to
ever heard
agree.
it.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Wow.
Looks like the chat was loving it though. Chess Bro, Fire Song, Aaron Cabell, Yo, Mirshan, Lol. Hey, are you guys just doing these 5 songs today? That's what we're timing for. But yeah, if we get up through them faster, then we'll do more. But yeah,
Yeah,
probably
if,
not.
if you want to lock in your spot, just send us the song through the form. That way we can get to it either today or next week, depending on the time.
Yeah, if you
Um,
use the form, we are guaranteed to get to it eventually.
yeah, the link is right up there, tiny URL.
Neat.
All right, what do we think of this? What are your first impressions?
My face is melted, bro.
Yeah,
My
agree.
first impression. Um, there's like a lot of things that I liked, but I think general sense it was just really scattered. And once I liked an idea that was developing, it just went to the next thing. But yeah, overall
Yeah.
impressions, it's fucking face melting, it's fucking screaming, it's fucking distortion at the wazoo. That's the kind of vibe that I get from it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think chaos is again what I would go back to. Like it's definitely sort of on all levels actually chaotic, right? Like in terms of the obviously the emotion of it, but also just the arrangement is a little bit chaotic. Like Chris
Yeah,
said,
everyone.
kind of hard to tell where things are going or like what's the point of like going from here to there because you can definitely do changes in energy, as an arrangement thing that can be really impactful. But there has to be some sort of meaning to it, sort of a journey, rather than just like, oh, that's one dumpster fire, and then oh look, a different dumpster fire. It's like okay, we don't need to see two different dumpster fires, right? Maybe a
Definitely
dumpster fire
dumpster
and then a
fire type
field,
beat for sure.
maybe like a field of poppies after the first dumpster fire would sort of give you more contrast, be a little more
Dude,
interesting,
they
right?
kind of did that with there was like a Halo esque strings there. Sorry, it's playing again.
Yeah.
Um,
PTSD.
yeah,
Yeah, no, there definitely was some of that, and then it sort of went back to it. I think there were maybe a little bit too many change ups that not like some of them sort of were like, oh, this is cool now, but there was a little bit too much of that changing back and forth. I thought. I also I sort of it looks like the volume on my YouTube player by default was a little bit low, so I was turning way up. I don't
mhm,
know what the volume sounded like to you because it sounded like that initial siren might have been kind of louder than the other stuff, but
might
that
have
could
been.
just be my setup. But yeah, I don't know. I just it felt like there was a big like filter over everything,
Yeah, it felt
didn't it?
very muddy,
Like there was some sort of
muddy and
yeah, it was super muddy. Like
distorted. Just
the
everything was distorted. Yeah,
Yeah, I sort of feel like something might have been put on top of everything, some sort of processing that kind of degraded things a little bit.
yeah,
So I would just be wary of that if you guys are listening.
yeah.
Um, what else? I
There
mean,
were no drums, were there? I was like,
yeah, I was gonna say I think there were drums, but I think they were really hard to hear because
yeah,
again, things were so muddy in the levels and all of that stuff. I think some work is needed there.
yeah.
All
It's
right.
really chaos is a good way to describe it. Yeah, if
Yeah.
we want to go through the three kind of traffic light system we got.
I guess. I mean, I think we sort of went through it, honestly. I don't
Yeah,
really have a whole lot that I can go much more into depth than that, just because I feel like the main thing is arrangement feels a little bit chaotic. Maybe it doesn't have as much purpose and journey as it could.
yeah,
Production, which is like a content thing. So I guess in terms of ratings, vibes, I would give it a yellow develop probably.
yeah,
That might be slightly subjective and personal, but I think even for your target audience, you could probably sort of fit more neatly into that niche, if that makes sense.
yeah,
And then content also would be a develop, just because I think the arrangement is part of that and the story. Production also it probably would even be orange for me.
yeah.
between redo and develop, just because I feel like it sounds like there's some sort of filtering happening over everything, or there's just like not enough mixing of the actual individual parts, and so the drums are getting lost, a little bit too much distortion everywhere, kind of hard to make out what's happening. But yeah, what do
Yeah.
you think?
In chat, if you have any feedback, let us know. DC in the chat says several dumpster fires. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Several dumpster fires. There was a Halo soundtrack type orchestra in the middle. That was nice. But then back to the dumpster fires. Vibes. They said face melting. I don't know what their intention is with 2020. 2020 is a pretty crazy year. Maybe that's what they're going for. But is it enjoyable to listen to, and where can I find it? I don't think I can say yes to that question. Where
Sure.
would I even look for something like this? In terms of face melting and like headbanging, there were some moments where I got my hair out and I
Yeah.
started headbanging, but it still felt missing, like key parts. Like it was so mid heavy, so distorted. There was nothing like on the bass to really like feel. There was no like awesome like drum solo to go with what was going on with some of the breakdowns. So it just felt kind of empty to me. I think vibes is like yellow to orange for me. Content, I think it's red to orange. Just because there's a lot of ideas. There's some that are good, but if I was working on this song, I would try to uh, maybe stick with one and then kind of develop it. These are dumpster fires, but you can turn a dumpster fire into something beautiful. Maybe not
Something
beautiful,
beautiful.
but properly. You can make it hotter.
Yeah,
You could pour gasoline
I
on it.
think you can.
To really
You can,
melt
yeah,
some
exactly.
melt some faces. But
Spray painted a new color. I don't know.
exactly. Production. I mean, Josh hit it on the head. Like I said, it sounded very mid heavy, very focused on the guitars. Vocals, they were screaming. Couldn't really hear what was being said, but I don't think of this genre that's really uh, a big
Yeah,
deal. But
I was gonna say
yeah,
that too.
it felt like it was distorted. Everything was turned up to 11 and then some. So I would say yellow to orange as well. For me, track total is an orange. I think it's between develop and redo.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'd say the
but
same.
yeah, I think we got some chat. So I like the visuals. The visuals were fire. I like how it's like what you expect it
Yeah,
would be,
I
and then
agree.
it's like a video in the back of just shit
Yeah,
ending, the world ending. So the
yeah,
Reptoids
I
keep
agree.
going. Thank you for the submission. Definitely want to hear some more drums on it though. Like I could tell you guys go hard. Just need some structure, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. All right, let's go on to the next one here.
Let's do it.
Hey, looks like we got Chesbro up now.
Chef Bro back.
This is Global Arc. Let's pull it up
Global
here.
Arc. All caps for my boy Chess Bro. What's up, Chess Bro? How you doing? Happy Friday.
Chesbro, let us know if there's any story behind this one or any
Me and the
details you
moon,
want to
we
share.
out there trading secrets. How to walk upon Mars, Saturn, and Venus. Fire.
Nice.
Okay. You ready?
Yes, I am.
Count us off.
All right, 3, 2, 1, hit it.
So fucking unique. Oh shit, hold up. Sorry.
What was that?
Said that was fucking unique as shit, bro. Chest
Yeah,
bro, buddy.
very unique. Yeah, a lot of these songs are like
Correct me, yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong too. I think he produces and does vocals. Yo,
yeah,
hey,
I think he said he
everybody.
does.
Sorry.
I'm trying to figure out, like, I was trying to compare to anything else. There's maybe some indirect comparisons, but it's definitely unique.
Yeah, who does shit
That's
like that? I don't know.
cool.
Um, yeah,
Should we?
that
Do
was
you want to go?
crazy.
Let's go through vibes each, and then
Yeah, vibes. What can I say about this shit? I don't even know what to say about vibes. I do want to kind of just say what my first impression is. It's like um, space cowboy type beat, but fucking Wild West cowboy, like fucking crazy frenzy type beat.
right.
Always keeps the energy up, chest bro. Um, but I think the biggest thing for me, like as a vocalist, um, and like I love this kind of uh, what is it? I don't want to say it's hyper pop because it's not really hyper pop, but for some reason that's where I want to peg him. Um, like there's like a tendency to kind of mush lyrics together, um, and it sounds like pretty decent and stuff. But I think sometimes when it's overdone, like I'm reading the lyrics that you have on the screen, and it's like what you're saying, it's like nowhere close to. Well, like it, like I could tell that's where it is, but it feels like you're smushing in a little bit too much for me, um, and it doesn't feel uh, smooth. It feels kind of unnatural. That's like the biggest thing that I can kind of take away from this. Before I can get into the big three, I just wanted to say that. Um, but yeah,
Sure.
vibes, energy. I think again I heard his fucking crowd vocals in the back at one point. I wish there was more of that actually. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I so vibes. I don't know. I guess it's like maybe yellow, just because. Yeah, I mean I can't really pinpoint anything. Vibes is kind of nebulous anyways, but yeah, I don't know. What do you have anything for vibes?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd say. Well, first, I'd probably agree with you about the.
Oh, shout out to the bar about fucking his testicles feel like Death Stars. I think you should get that checked out. By the way, that made me laugh during it. Chess bro.
Yeah, that's good.
But anyways,
Um, I agree about the lyrical thing. I mean, I think there is, again, I know that the impression that you might want to give is that super fast paced thing, but there's a point when you can't really execute it as well as you might hope you could. And you're not quite living up to that vibe that you're trying to go for with the fast lyrics thing.
mhm,
Yes, there's still a balance with that. Like, I think what happens a lot of time is when people want a lot of something, whether it's a lot of bass or a lot of distortion or a lot of whatever in the way that they envision their song, the solution usually isn't actually to add as much as you possibly can. There's more finesse involved usually, and if you know, you could study a lot of your influences and how they produced their songs and how the producers and mixing engineers they with made those things happen, made those perceptions possible. But usually, it's not a lot more than you think. Even like just one example, Green Day stuff on like Dookie, right? People think of that album as being having really heavily distorted guitars, right?
mhm,
Um, there's barely any distortion on the actual guitar tones, which is
mhm,
crazy. You would never think that. It's actually, I think it's just going through a Marshall at certain points, and sometimes with a tube screamer, but the tube screamer is more for live. Most of it's just through a Marshall that's slightly overdriven for people who
mhm.
know about guitar stuff.
Sheesh.
But same thing with this, like having the fast feel of lyrics doesn't necessarily mean squeezing as many lyrics as possible in, but rather crafting a flow that is consistent and smooth, but also feels like that to the listener. There's kind of
Yep.
an art and a balance in it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'd have to agree with that. For vibes, again, I feel like there's a lot going on. It's also like a little bit chaotic for my tastes.
Yes.
And we could go into some places where that is appearing, more specifically as well. But I would
Yep.
also give it a yellow for develop there.
Yeah.
Um, Content, I guess we can go right into. Do you want to go on that one?
I mean, yeah. So what you kind of said, I think hit the nail on the head for me. Chaotic, right? And I heard a lot of different things going on, especially with the production. I feel like he did like that fucking kind of sound, you know. And I caught like details like that, and I thought it was really really cool. But the thing is that I felt like there was no kind of dynamic journey. It was just kind of all up there. I think that might
Yeah.
have been what Chess Bro did last time.
Mhm.
Like his energy brings it up, but there's nothing to contrast it with. So,
Yeah.
you know, if you live on a plateau, if it's super high, above the sea level, you won't even like recognize any highs and lows. You're just always high. So
Yeah. You can't
that's
see light without having dark.
yes, yes, no contrast, right? Um, yeah. So content wise, that's kind of going along with what this is saying. I think it would benefit from having kind of dropouts and different changes in energy. Um, kind of points like if you were to perform this live where you'd literally do like a count off like 1, 2, 3, 4 from like a quiet point to like an actual like breakdown. From
Oh,
here, it's
yeah.
just out from the get go, like fucking crazy. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's from me. I think I do appreciate a lot of the detail, a lot of the sounds is very very interesting and new. Um, but yeah, I make contrast and
Yeah.
so then again, it's only a minute 46, so that's from me, Chess Bro. I think it's a yellow as well from me in content.
Yeah, I think I'd say the same. I'd probably put it between yellow to green, closer to yellow,
I could
though.
see that. I could see that.
I think most of it, like, you definitely have a really good thing going here, and, we've talked about it, but your
Fresh.
artistry, I think, feels legit. Um, and there's a lot of elements here, like, production is at a level above a lot of people, and just the overall, composition, which is content related.
Yep.
But yeah, I would also agree. Just like I think I would love to see some of your stuff, but with builds, right? Like even just right at the beginning, some sort of build in, man. Like even if it's like a 1 bar swell, right? Like that can make such a difference in like the way that it hits the listener's ear. Uh, Something like that, or having some more variation and throughout the song of like not just being at 100 the whole time, because that can get pretty exhausting. I,
100.
I I honestly find that with the level like being everything like smashed up at 100, front of the screen from the beginning becomes tiring sort of like almost immediately, and then
Mm.
you sort of can settle into it and try to listen, but it's a lot to take in.
Yep.
So I would definitely work on trying to dial it back a little bit, working on that balance.
Mhm.
um then for
Love the
production,
visuals,
do you
by the
do
way.
anything specific for that? Yeah, the
Uh,
visuals are always super clear.
I don't know. I wanted to hear your perspective on this because I'm hearing stuff, but I can't really vocalize it as of yet. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you could go first on
So
that.
my main thing was the way that the visual is having all this sort of dynamic, like moving back and forth into the foreground. I wanted to ask Chesbro, are you using some sort of dynamic compression or like some automatic like level riding plugin or just like a bunch of volume automation? Because what I was hearing was, or even like ducking maybe. I'm hearing a lot of stuff moving forward and back, which is really distracting, honestly.
Mm,
It's sort of
like
like why is yeah, like why is the vocal like I mean, I could if I went back and listened again, I could definitely hear clear volume changes. And I don't know if
mm,
those are intentional or as the result of some processing that's not working the way you want it to. I'm not really sure. Uh, but yeah, it sounds like the vocal is changing volume quite a bit. And it's just really hard to hear, like Chris said, with those backing vocals and that stuff. Those are just getting kind of lost and buried, and they're kind of pulling your ear all around because there's like something over here and something comes in and you're trying to make it out. There's a shitload happening like in the mid range there, and I just think that it's not super dynamic. And again, we talked about partly with arrangement that's an issue, but also with the mixing. It just feels like there's a lot happening in the mid range, in the upper mid range especially, and like it's kind of squashed.
mm.
So it's hard to make out exactly what's going on with that stuff, and with those vocal. I'm not sure what that is. Those vocal volume changes.
It could even be a lack of compression, maybe.
Maybe, but it sounded like it was from processing, not from mic. It could be
Yeah,
from
the
moving
mic
back
did
and
sound.
forth to the microphone. It could be
I
that, but
yeah,
it's kind of hard to say.
yeah. I hear what
Chesbro,
you mean though, because
he
it
said
did sound
fruity
like
compressor and some EQ stuff. It wouldn't be a flanger. Definitely
EQ.
not a flanger. Fruity compressor, maybe. Maybe there's something weird happening with the compression there, or maybe it's just when it was recorded there was some movement or something. I don't know, or maybe there's some plugin in there that's doing something that you don't quite realize that it's doing. But yeah, I would just say there's probably a little bit. You're probably driving your processing a little bit too hard. That's what I think it probably comes down to. Like dial stuff back to make it sound a little bit more natural. Uh, Try to make things a little bit more consistent because we're definitely hearing a lot of like it's hard to process with your your ears and your brain sort of.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what I would say for production. And I would give it a again probably a round to develop. Yeah, I would
Yep.
say it sums to a develop. But yeah, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I would probably go yellow to green, right in the middle there, because I do like a lot of the
Sure.
detailed weird shit that I'm hearing. I think it's
Yeah.
very unique. I can't. I could even. I could barely pinpoint you into a genre. Um, but I do say that on top of what Josh is saying, um, there's this one synth. I don't want to replicate it, but it's like a high synth, and it sounds very very dry. Um, I think that's what like I kind of summed up the whole mix as like you have this like kind of space visual. For me, I would like to actually have the instrumentation to be a little more wet, if that makes sense, to kind of glue everything together a little bit. Um, it's just kind of chaotic, and then everything's dry, so everything's kind of sharp. And
Sure.
um, I think as a producer, maybe I would probably take away a couple things,
Yeah.
and then add some wetness to kind of glue everything together. But
Yeah, and
the thing that
honestly,
stuck
I
out to me was that
wouldn't.
high center. So I thought that was the
Yeah,
coolest part.
I would. I think there's a couple options for that. One that I would not do. Don't add reverb before taking some stuff down a notch,
Mm,
because
yep.
that's just going to add
Right.
more complexity and literally reverberation of high mid frequencies, and it's
Yeah.
going to be a mess. You need to create a significant amount of space in the mix, and then you can add reverb, and that's like a good way to fill in that space. Another
Mm,
way, if you're just trying to glue stuff together and make it sound a little bit more uniform, you could put like you could experiment with what like a tape one of those tape emulators like Waves makes a really good one. Kramer tape I think is one.
shout out waves.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them out there. There might be some other stuff that I'm forgetting the name of. But that can sort of round out the edges a little bit and just glue things together in a very subtle way. You don't want to overdo it. Same thing could just be with a master bus compressor that again is very subtle. When you're doing anything in the master bus, you don't want to make drastic moves because it's gonna fuck things up. Like just don't do it.
Yep.
uh, so yeah, I think that's where we're at. And then track total, I'd have to say it's like 50-60% between develop and good to go for me.
Yep. I think so too. And by the way, Chess Bro, looks like Aaron Campbell, appreciate you guys in the chat, is a low key liking Global Arc. Well, yeah, I like it too. And we always say
Yeah,
with Chess Bro, the artistry is super sick and the energy is
yeah,
there. It's just some of these other things that we can hopefully, take you to the next level, at least from our
yeah,
tastes. But yeah, again, I
yeah,
think I'd want to see this guy live. I think he'd go crazy.
yeah, yeah. I mean, again, we focus obviously on the nitpicky stuff because I think it's the most helpful. But yeah, we definitely liked a lot about it. So yeah, thanks for
Of yours, John.
sending us stuff again.
Yes, thank you, Chess Bro.
Yeah,
Appreciate
and
you
looking forward to hearing more.
for sure.
All right, let's do the next one here. We've got about half an hour left. Looks like.
You,
All right, so this one is Indigo Vertigo. The song is called Precipice. Let me get this pulled up here, and it's gonna try to autoplay. So I'm
Chess Bro
gonna.
getting the love in the chat. Love it.
Oh yeah.
It's getting hot in here.
Oh, you know what'd be cool actually? If we had like a vote thing that we could do where people vote on their favorite song from each stream.
Yes, dude. That's what I
That'd be
wanted as a
sick.
feature.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah, there's probably like a Twitch plugin that does it.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a finished release. Indigo Vertigo's debut is the product of blood, sweat, and tears. Bile, sins, and bodily fluids were drained and concentrated into this noise-laden death metal project. Just kidding. We are just some dudes who grew up in Orange County, California, and made a dreamy indie rock EP. Our
Oh,
EP is
thank God.
designed as a one-shot listening experience, so if you like one, you might love the trio. Okay, sounds
Fire.
cool. Thanks for kind of warming us up there. Appreciate that.
No, I don't appreciate it. I
Uh,
was about to get. I was like, oh, this is gonna be gross. Vile sins. All right,
I know. I
bodily
was like,
fluid.
ooh. All
But
right, we ready?
yeah, I'm ready. Oh, hold on. Let me just a second. Let me get ready to mute. All right, I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
My father introduced me to Stogies, and second of all, because I'm a stud. I'm balls. I don't take no shit from anyone. I smoke my Stogie anywhere I want. I don't have to find a hideout place
It weighs like lead suggestions, sweet upon the tongue, lightness in the feeling, but heavy in the bone. I can't go on alone and fall off in the fume. On the edge, precipice, all my love lies in rest with the bed when I'm gone. All the pain on the card, all the twitching is a quack. Accident can take it all, take the cushion, yeah, that's all. All the pain on the card, all the twitching is a quack. Accident can take it all, take the cushion, yeah, that's all. Loosen up or clean the charge, I'm gonna follow up. I'm sorry, baby, doll, you were left with what I was. This poison that is sleeping, Saturday into town. You tell me it's the meaning of sipping turpentine. Oh, so cherish like the cherry on top. On the edge, precipice, all my love lies in rest, bleed the bed when I'm gone. All the pain, all the card, all the virgin is a fun. Infinite can take it off, take the pick and get us up. All the pain, all the card, all the virgin is a fun. Infinite can take it off, take the pick and get us up. Loosen up or clean the chart, I'm gonna follow. I'm sorry, baby, no, you were left with what I was.
That's nice. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Cool.
Very nice ending there.
Shit. Can this is one where I sort of want to dive right into production
Yep, that's the first thing I
because I'll
heard.
forget otherwise.
Uh,
Yeah. Although what I was sort of surprised by, I thought that the part that was best sounded the best overall was that last section there.
Yeah.
Like that, I thought actually everything melded together really well. It sounded really, really powerful, like in both of those two sort of last sections there.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck, that was good.
I was
And
gonna say just
just on the
right
content.
from the snare roll, right from that snare roll, and it goes into
Yeah,
that high energy part, that's where it was,
yeah.
like, a level above what the beginning part was.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take a guess at this. I know a lot of people. It sounds like somebody who knows what they're doing was mixing this. You
Yeah.
wouldn't sound that good without somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yep.
They might be mixing for the loudest part, which is a common strategy. It's not a bad idea actually, because if you're mixing for a quieter part primarily, and then it gets louder, things can really like kind of leap out of the
Fuck.
bag. So it is good just to mix, spend the most time in the loudest part, like often. The problem is you need to give a little bit more attention to the rest of the song, the other 3 minutes basically before that. And some of that's going to come down to automation, right? You can do most things without automation in a really loud part of a song because everything's kind of locking together and filling up that whole, volume space and everything and spectral space. But when you've got less things going on, the inconsistencies stick out more because they're more visible. Um, so I mean, the first thing that I heard, this is like a minor, a preference thing, but I think you had a few too many parts that were doing pitch modulation or volume modulation. So flangers, phasers, choruses, whatever you had on there. There was,
Auto
yeah, there was a lot of that stuff, and
mm,
it's okay to have some of it. But you might want to consider not layering so many different parts with different fluctuations because it's just like it's kind of crazy.
yep.
Um, what else? I think the vocal, there was a little bit of mud. So I heard again in the first 2 or 3 minutes. I think there's a buildup, which is pretty common, but somewhere between maybe 110, 120 to 250 hertz. That's the range where you get the most buildup from recording live drums. A lot of drums have some boxiness or boominess in that range, and from recording live guitars. Again, it's just like physical speakers off put, especially like 12-inch speakers, off put a lot of frequencies in that range. And so it's super common for live rock band recordings to want to make as many cuts as you can in that, again, 110 to 250 hertz range to get rid of the mud, because it just makes things sound kind of like cardboardy, kind of boxy, and it really can weigh down the clarity in the rest of your mix. That's kind of the biggest thing, really, at the beginning. Again, I think later on it's okay. If you don't want to lose the quality of your later section, you could, you could even segment the tracks and apply a separate EQ to the earlier section. You could automate turning an EQ on or off. So you could say after we get to this bar, turn that EQ off, or you could even use a dynamic EQ,
Yep.
or dynamic compression in some cases. Then for the vocal, I think the vocal for the most part it's good. Um, I think vocal processing is one of the most difficult because our ears are the most attuned to like vocal quality.
Yeah.
So there might honestly be a couple of sort of processing changes that could be made to just make it sound a little bit more like professional. But I also think that the vocal delivery, like, and this is more of a long term thing. So there could possibly be a little bit more vocal control in some points. For the
Mm.
most part, it's fine. You can sort of get like the Talking Heads vibe or something where it's kind of a loose vocal.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought.
I thought
The
you were
synthwave.
thinking,
The synthwave, yeah.
um, yeah, 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 which is
Talking
super
Heads,
cool. It's just like even, David
ACDC.
Byrne has a specific way of being loose while still having a ton of control. So I
Mhm.
would just say like you want to make sure that your notes are not like trailing off at the end and becoming out of pitch. It's okay to have some sort of loose vibrato happening, but you don't want your pitch to sort of go off in, an asymmetrical way.
Mm.
Um, Other than that, maybe there might have been a couple times where I could use a little bit more like vocal legibility, but that's super specific stuff that probably
Yeah.
needs somebody more experienced than that, vocal coach or something.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I think for production, that's about all I have. I just wanted to go into it because there's the most detail there, and to remember those things.
Yeah.
But I would give you guys very close to good to go on production because
Yeah.
again, that end part sounds great, but there's definitely some stuff at the beginning that's a little bit noticeable.
Yeah. The first thing I noticed is that this is quiet. And it's probably due to the fact that you mixed for the louder part that happens later, which sounds great. Um, and then maybe just didn't revisit the mix in the beginning. That's
Yeah.
literally, and like that's unfortunate, right? Because that's the first thing that we hear, and in terms of vibes and content, I know we didn't break it down yet, but like I feel like you guys are pretty much green there. I think it was arranged really well. The second part, as soon as the snare roll hits, it's like
Yeah.
really good. I'm hearing like spatial, like stereo spacing in the drum set. There's like the rim hit is over here. The thing about, so I'm a drummer, by the way. I think one thing that could be changed on production for drums specifically is the snare. I think is being buried when the snare should be the thing that's popping out.
Right.
I think in terms of the rim click that's happening, or a stick click, I don't even know what it is. It's some sort of click like there. I think it sounds really dry, and it kind of contrasts. I think in a not a very positive way to like the dreamy kind of indie pop synth wave kind of vibe that's going on with the rest of it. I'd like to hear, that processing be applied to the drums a little bit more. But like vibes, I think Josh hit it on the head. I pointed to my longboard because I felt like surfing to this shit, like sidewalk surfing. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
it's definitely like a surfer type vibe. When you hit that faster part, I was reminded of the Talking Heads specifically, which I'm glad that you caught that too. And B-52's Love Shack for some reason. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah. I could see
shit
that
like
too.
that. So, and I think that's what they were going for. So, for me, I think vibes content is green green. I think production is yellow green.
Mhm.
Because I would change a couple things,
Sure.
but it's pretty close to green. So, for me, I think um, it is like in the beginning, like if it comes on a playlist, right? Um, people are gonna notice that it's quiet and they're gonna have to turn it up, and that's something that you don't want, right?
Right.
Because unfortunately, people think louder is better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to
It's
turn my shit up. So I
just
think it's
psychology.
yeah, I think it's in between good to go to and develop for me. More leaning towards green because it's a very small change, but yeah, I'm inclined to check out the rest of your guys' stuff. That was pretty cool.
Sure. For that's your track total.
Yeah, it's like lemon lime.
Yeah, I would say the same. Oh, one again, just small thing if it might be helpful.
Mm,
The open hi hat that comes in right near the middle of the song, is like overpowering. It's kind of just a little bit fatiguing to the ear.
mm,
I turned down a little bit there because the high frequencies are just so loud there.
mm,
That's just like one easy ass thing to adjust and like help that section out a little bit, help your listeners not be in pain.
mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, overall, just I felt like the writing here and the arrangement was really good. I was a little bit worried being 4:15 that it would feel a little bit long, but I think you guys conquered that. I thought that the way your sections were laid out, it absolutely didn't feel like it was going on too long to me.
Yep.
And especially with the end being so fun and so good, ending on a high
Yeah.
note, that was awesome. So yeah, content I would give you guys a green on that, and vibes I'd give you a green. So yeah, I would say like it's very close to good to go. Just the production stuff there could take it to the next level.
Yeah. I think is this their first EP? Congratulations. That was impressive.
Yeah, yeah, congrats. That's
Yeah. Good
awesome.
luck. Indie
All
Vertigo is
right,
great.
we've got around 10 minutes. Should we try to actually? I don't know if it's gonna be possible to get through both of these. Let's just try to listen to it and see where we get.
Yeah. I think is it cool if I just do one because I do have to get to sound check at like 6:40.
Yeah, sure.
So
All
I'll
right.
just do the Dune Matrix, and Josh will be solo for Gary with two R's. Ah, shit! I wanted to ask Gary a couple things. By the way, sorry. Hello, hello. Josh, can you hear
Yep.
me? Oh, okay. I did want to
Yeah, I can
ask
hear you.
Gary a couple things because Gary, I see him in the Making Hip Hop thread all the time, and I think he's making a
Okay.
song every day for like this past year,
Wow,
and I think he's made like
that's
over
insane.
100 already. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Is
Um,
he here? Is Gary here?
Gary, if you're here, let us
Gary, if
know.
you're here, let us know. Yeah, and I guess also just if it's hip hop, let me know if you want to do it this week. If Gary is not here, we could do it next week.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'm happy to go through that one.
Gary, if you're here, we're gonna do it. To put it in the chat. If you're not here, then I'll do it next week. Sorry.
Yes. All right. Let's see. Do we have a description? Dune Matrix by how did you pronounce it?
I don't know. Saunimon. It sounds like a Digimon character. I don't know, but
And the album artwork says Xalax, like
Xanax.
Xanax with an L.
It says inspired by electronic/ambient palettes, but mixing in sounds and ideas from other genres such as pop, rap, alternative, and industrial. It's a finished release, Dune Matrix.
Nice.
I'm kind of excited. I like
Dope.
it. I like the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Cool. You ready?
All right, let's listen to it. Yep. 3, 2, 1. Punch it.
I'm getting Halo vibes again.
Yeah.
I like some of those twinkles. Though.
Yeah, it's cool.
Switch up. What's happening here?
Ooh.
That bass.
Wow. Nice. Multimodal.
What?
Music theory shit.
Yeah, sorry, I'm ignorant.
It's sort of in multiple keys is what that means.
Oh, interesting. Soundymon
Yeah,
and Josh are more or less ignorant than me.
That's interesting. Man, I mean, what I want to hear what your first impressions are first.
Yeah. So, and I might be a little bit short because my ride city is going to be here in 3 minutes. But
yeah, sure.
like I said, I think it's Halo vibes, and that goes more than just saying it's like a space kind of feel. And there's a lot of twinkles and stuff like that, which I enjoyed. Um, but I do think that it seems like video game music, and the way that the reason why I
Yeah,
say that is because it seems like there's like a main kind of it sounds like it's meant to be background music, and maybe that's what you're going for,
right.
but there isn't something like main to like latch onto, like a main melody. There's all these beautiful arpeggios that are happening and chords and pads, and it might be multimodal and everything. Um, but for the most part, the drum beat's the same throughout the whole thing. There's no like main kind of thing to take me away. It's just kind of we're just chilling, and it felt like I was playing Halo. Like the Halo songs, I feel like are like that. They're meant to be loopable, so as you're in a certain section of the video game, it keeps playing the same thing. So if that's what you're going for, that's cool, and I think it has its place there. But if not, then I think that's where it might be lacking. But that's where my vibes are at. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just if you're going for the radio, it's a different story. So I think vibes are green. I think it's decent. Um, Content, I think it might get a little old, but depending on where it's going to be, um, like if it's meant for a video game, then yeah, I think it's green. But if it's trying to be like a radio smash hit or something, um, then I think it might be just a little bit plain, a little bit repetitive. 4 minutes, I don't think it needs to be that long, but you know, um, up to interpretation. So I think it's like between yellow and green for me. Sorry, Josh, what do you think?
Sure. I mean, I if it's not meant to be like like background music in some capacity, whether that's I don't know what the intention is here, like for like video game type thing or like YouTube video type thing or stream thing,
Yeah,
there's a couple different avenues for that stuff. If it's not for that, then yeah, you probably should investigate a little bit and maybe like consider there's not really much of a subject, right? I mean that's often what separates background music from foreground music, right? Or
yep,
stuff that would be for the radio is that there's a subject. There's something to focus on like a person or like a story or something, some narrative. Versus just a landscape, which is what this feels more like. I mean, that being said, I think it's doing those things pretty well. I think for the vibe, if it's going for the vibe of sort of like, or even like an anime type thing, which might partly be from the sort of vibe of the cover art here, but
yep.
it just if that's what it's going for, then you're clear on the vibes. I would give it, somewhere between develop and good to go because I'm not really sure which it is.
Mhm.
Um, then for content, I did think that some of the chordal stuff you're doing was pretty cool, and the arrangement and the sounds I think were executed pretty well in terms of how they, were placed in the stereo field, and the movement was pretty good, and the dynamics were also pretty good. Things could really move, a lot of distance. It felt like, which was cool. And production again, I think the sounds were positioned pretty well, and it was a pretty good effort. So production, I would give you probably close to a green, if not green. But again, I don't think we're completely sure what the purpose of it is, which makes it hard to assess in that way. If it's for background music, I think you're in a really good spot and you should start sending it out to people. But if
Agreed.
you want people to listen to it on their own, then there's some work that needs to be done on having more of a subject, a narrative. Maybe it's a vocal part, some sort of lead synth line or something to grab more attention, or making it shorter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's where we're at. And then track totals, what do we think?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. If it's a background music, it's good to go. If it's not
Yeah.
background music, then it's yellow green.
Yeah, no, I would say exactly the same thing.
But I do like the vibes of it. Love the twinkles. Love the aesthetic. Love the album art. Even
Yeah,
everything is
you've got
really
some
solid.
cool stuff going on there, like for
Yeah,
real.
good vision. But
Yeah.
my ride is here, Josh. So I'm gonna. Oh, he looks like he might need some ibuprofen. But yeah, it looks like
All
I'm
right.
gonna head out. But thank you very much, man. I'll see you everybody later. Good luck on the last track, Josh. Hopefully it doesn't melt your face off.
If Gary is not here, let's just wait until next week to do it.
Okay, yeah, Gary. Sorry, brother.
I
I
don't
guess
think
we'll see
he's
you
here.
later.
He didn't say anything in the chat, but let's do it next week. I think he just submitted like an hour ago or something, so it should be okay.
Cool.
But yeah, thank you again, everybody, for watching. Follow us on Instagram. That's the best way to keep up with what we're doing.
You,
Catch
you,
us on the stream next week. You can follow us here on Twitch or YouTube. And yeah, we look forward to reviewing more of your music. Send us stuff you're working on. Find your friends who are working on music, and
sweet.
we'll review it for you and give you constructive feedback. So
Yeah, appreciate
again,
it. Thanks for
Thanks,
everybody
everyone.
that I hit up on Reddit too. Appreciate it. I think that one guy in the chat, Miro Shan, I think I had hit him up too, but I didn't see you submit. So come on, man, like roll through. You know what we do now.
Yeah, send us some shit. We'll hit it next week.
Yeah, sorry for the short show. That's the short show. That is my bad, everybody. We typically go till like 7. So, but yeah, appreciate you guys, and we'll see you later.
All good. All right. Thank you, everybody. Again, follow us on there. Keep up with us. Send us music, and we'll see you next week.
Yeet.
Peace.